Right now, Governor Evers is telling us his plan for the future of farmers in Wisconsin in his second State of the State address.
And we're hearing from Wisconsin senators ahead of the second day of opening statements in President Trump's Senate impeachment trial.
But first, it's a slick morning out there. We're bringing you team coverage to make sure your morning commute is a safe one.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for staying with us on this snowy Thursday, January 23rd. We have team coverage this morning on an alert day forecast and its impact on your commute.
Christina Laurie is out on the roads with our News 3 Now live drive, but let's start with meteorologist Hattie McLean and the latest on the forecast. Good morning, Hattie.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. Yes, snow is falling this morning across southern Wisconsin. It started late yesterday. Alert days are in the forecast, so take a look at all the details. Here's a live look from the Capitol. We're looking at reduced visibility with some of these snow showers as well. Alert days, again, in the forecast through Friday. So for the rest of the week, this is a very long duration event. About 60 hours of on and off snow showers are expected. So you got to clean off the car this morning. I shoveled about an inch of snow here in the patio. So again, you'll have to clear it off this morning. Just a couple of minutes extra though, pretty easy. We're looking at just all snow during the overnight hours. Now here's a look at the radar map. You can see that snow continues for most of the area. Starting to see the snow break up a little bit in far southwestern Wisconsin, so maybe getting a little bit of a break towards Platteville and Prairie du Chien. Again, on and off snow showers though are expected through the rest of the day. I mentioned visibility was reduced a little bit. It's generally 2 miles or less in most spots this morning with the snow falling and a little bit of fog developing. Our temperatures will climb above the freezing point today to a high of 34. So that means there is a small possibility for a little bit of rain to mix in as well as we go into the afternoon hours, especially south of Madison. Let's get a look at those first alert traffic maps now, though. Here in Madison, the plows have been out. The belt line pretty good. We're not seeing any major delays there, but let's zoom that map out a little bit and show you a wider view across our area. You see lots of yellow spots on some of the roads indicating slower than normal travel. Highway 12 and 18 a little slower. Slow coming up from the south from Janesville and Edgerton. There have been some slow spots on Highway 14 as well. So just plan some extra time as you head out the door this morning. Again, here's the belt line, but that commute is most likely going to be impacted when there are the most people on the road. So between 5 and 8 o'clock this morning is when I expect the highest impacts. Let's send it over to Christina right now, though she has a closer look at what's happening outside.
Hi, Hattie. Those yellow roads that you were mentioning, those are roads that Dane County Dispatch says they've been receiving reports of slide-offs. They say the majority of those, they've received about 15 reports so far this morning, have happened in rural areas. Now, right now, we are headed westbound on University Avenue, and this is one of the roads in the Madison area that typically gets pretty snow-covered and slick on mornings like this. So here's a look at what we're seeing. The city of Madison's main SALT routes are the Madison Metro bus routes and roads around schools and hospitals. We just passed the area near University Hospital. That was a pretty well-plowed area, but stretches like this can get very slick, and that's because the big mounds of snow that you're seeing on the side of the road are actually starting to melt because it got a bit warmer out. And that's creating a light film of slush across the road, which is very slick if your car doesn't have perfect traction. So Dane County Dispatch, their main message to all drivers this morning, plan ahead, be safe, be careful, go slow this morning. And that is what we are doing out on the roads. We will be out here all morning, Josh and Leah, monitoring road conditions ahead of your drive to work. I know you drove in a few hours ago and you didn't get the worst of it yet. It's still very slick out here.
And that's going to continue. Christina Laurie keeping an eye on our commute for us. Thank you, Christina.
All right, 6:04 right now. We're going to take a statewide look at the roads of the Wisconsin 511 map. A closer look at Madison. You can see much of the area right now is snow covered, but just to the north, we're also dealing with a little bit of that ice where you see the pink lines.
Anywhere you see a pink line means that it's slippery stretches. We're also going to see that up in the Eau Claire area if you're headed up in that neck of the woods. Now, some of the worst of it might be in Milwaukee. That's the only place that we have seen a crash. Again, we haven't seen any red lines. That would be ice covered. And with the forecast that we're looking at today, right around 35 degrees, we're not expecting to see that.
Yeah, and Hattie has been mentioning a lot of the snow is going to be more to the north of us in the coming days. So that's where, if you're headed north, you're going to want to keep a special eye on that as well.
All right, again, the snow is expected to stick around into the weekend. So as totals change, you're going to want to keep an eye on everything over on our Channel 3000 weather app. It has the most up-to-date and accurate weather conditions. It's also going to give you a look at current road conditions and whether your commute's clear for the coming days. You can get that app again for free in your app store. All right, to our other top headline this morning, Governor Evers is putting a full plate in front of legislators after his State of the State address.
He's calling the legislature to a special session next week to take up a package of bills on farms. After Republicans were criticized for slow action on funding for farmer mental health last year, Evers called for a new program to get farmers access to those services. His plan also creates an Office of Rural Prosperity to help revitalize rural parts of the state.
We have not forgotten those who have shared the harvest and bounty, feeding our families, our communities, and our state and our country for more than a century. And tonight, we say that we are ready to be a partner in the promise of posterity.
Governor Evers also announced his plans to sign 2 executive orders, one creating a task force on student debt, the other creating a nonpartisan redistricting commission. Looking ahead, legislators can also expect the UW Regents to ask for a tuition increase in the next state budget. UW System President Ray Cross says their biennial budget request will include an increase, roughly in keeping with inflation. A reminder, tuition has been frozen at the system's 4-year schools since 2013. Democratic
House managers will spend another day continuing their opening arguments in President Trump's impeachment trial after beginning their presentation yesterday. Lead manager Adam Schiff began building the House's case of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Democrats are still making their case that new witnesses should testify. The president's defense team could present their case as soon as tomorrow. Meanwhile, Wisconsin senators are weighing in.
I thought Chairman Nadler certainly didn't help their case anymore. I mean, accusing Republican senators of complicity in some kind of cover-up, that's not helpful. I think the Chief Justice was very wise to try and bring him back into a little more appropriate decorum.
We'll hear from Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin coming up in the next half hour.
New this morning, the Trump administration could expand its controversial travel ban as soon as next week. Politico reports Monday marks the 3-year anniversary of the original order, which targeted several Muslim-majority nations. The Supreme Court deemed it constitutional in June of 2018. 7 countries would be added in the expansion, including Nigeria, Sudan, Myanmar, and Tanzania. The ban would place immigration restrictions on those countries, but it wouldn't necessarily ban all citizens of those countries from entering the U.S.
President Trump will be the first president to attend the March for Life tomorrow in Washington, an annual anti-abortion event. The president was also the first to speak at the march through a video feed when he addressed participants in 2018. The administration has consistently worked to regulate or restrict abortion access. March for Life's president said in a statement that they are deeply honored to welcome President Trump to the 47th annual march. 6:08 this morning, and still ahead for us on a Thursday. We're following breaking news this morning after one person was killed and several others injured in another mass shooting, this time in Seattle. That's coming up.
And we are continuing to track road conditions and school delays on this snowy morning. Hattie joins us next with an update on her Alert Day forecast when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
Good morning from the patio, where snow continues to fall this morning. Again, about an inch of snow is what I had to shovel this morning when I got to work in the patio, and probably what you're seeing at your house as well. Snow started late yesterday and continued overnight and will continue for the next couple of days. We're talking about 60 hours of on and off snow here across southern Wisconsin. So the snow totals are going to add up a little bit. No advisories or warnings, though, in effect, because this is such a long duration event. The criteria for an advisory would be 3 to 6 inches of snow within 12 hours. So we will obviously not eclipse that, but we will add up a decent amount of snow by the time we get to Saturday. Our probability of precipitation is a bit up and down through the day today. After the morning commute, I think we may start to see a little bit of a break in the precipitation. We'll likely see snow showers then through the afternoon, and then it starts to taper off again during the evening hours. There is more snow in the forecast, though, on Friday. Take a look at your future track snow forecast. This is through about 5:30 on Saturday. So from now through midday Saturday, we're looking at another, about 2 to 5 inches of snow on top of what has already fallen. So you will definitely have to clean things up once this snow comes to an end. We're talking more than 3 inches of snow for most locations. Now take a look at Doppler track this morning, and what you'll see is some pretty widespread snow activity across southern and central Wisconsin. A little bit of a break in the activity through Minnesota and Iowa right now. Moisture continues to stream northward, though, across Illinois. Right now, it is cold enough that all the precipitation is falling as snow, although as temperatures warm to slightly above freezing this afternoon, there may be a little bit of rain mixing in. Here's a live look at the west side of town. This is our sky camera shot looking at Raymond Road. You can see that there still is some snow on the road. Folks going a little bit slower than they normally would, which is a good idea. Visibility is down to less than 2 miles in several spots this morning with the snow falling. Here's a look at our current temperatures. At least we're not talking any polar weather with this snow. We have temperatures in the upper 20s to right around 30 degrees. Now, it's not going to warm a whole lot, maybe about 5 or 6 degrees today, but it will warm just a little bit above freezing. Your future track forecast model shows you how the snow kind of wraps up and pulls off to the east this morning, but then scattered snow showers continue this afternoon. I think after 5 o'clock, there may be a little more significant break in the snow activity until late this evening into the overnight hours. Likely going to be snowing as you head to work tomorrow morning, so another snowy commute expected. Plan ahead. On and off snow showers then through the day, and there may be a heavier band of snow then moving in Friday night into Saturday morning. We'll have to watch that one closely. There may also be some rain associated with that snow on Friday. Here's a look at our snow totals again for southern Wisconsin. This is through midday Saturday. Again, we're looking at a couple of inches of snow to maybe around 5 or 6 inches at some of those higher locations. Here's a look at your extended forecast. We have pretty consistent temperatures. Once the snow winds down on Saturday, it's pretty quiet for at least a couple of days. Not a lot of sun in this forecast, but at least it's not too cold. Let's get a look at your traffic report now this morning. We'll send it over to Stacy Kay, who has all the details. Good morning, Stacy.
Good morning. You might want to leave earlier than usual to give yourself some extra time. The snow is making you slow down this morning. Side roads may or may not be plowed just yet. The plows are out, but there is still snow on the road, so be extra careful, especially on those ramps. The Beltline is okay this morning, mostly wet, and you should be able to get to 55 miles an hour. Checking out other roads here in Dane County, Highway 14 is slow, and Stoughton Road and Park Street are slow approaching the Beltline. East Washington looks pretty slushy and slow, and other main routes heading into Madison slow, but moving along with no crashes or delays so far. With your First Alert Traffic, I'm Stacy Kay.
Thank you, Stacy, and thank you, Hattie. 6:15 your time now. We have new video just into the newsroom this morning after a mass shooting in Seattle. Take a look at the scene. 1 person was killed. 7 people are in the hospital this morning. Police are still looking for the shooter. It happened around 5 p.m. local time in Seattle. The city's mayor released a statement saying it started as an argument and then escalated into gunfire.
And then I heard bow, 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 bow. I knew it wasn't fireworks. And then I started screaming. I'm just sick of all of this.
Police say the woman who was killed was in her 40s or 50s. Other victims range from a 9-year-old boy to a 55-year-old woman, all in the hospital in varying conditions.
More breaking news overnight. 3 U.S. residents are dead after a water tanker crashed while fighting wildfires in Australia. It happened in the state of New South Wales. A nearby airport was shut down this morning because of those wildfires, and residents south of its capital were told to seek shelter. This comes as Australia tries to deal with an unprecedented fire season that's already destroyed thousands of acres of land and has killed an estimated 1 billion animals. More than 1 week after a Wisconsin veteran and father was murdered, we're learning more from the Dane County Sheriff's Office.
Nicholas Day was found dead along a rural road in the town of Blue Mounds. Detectives have been asking for help from the public, but this morning they're looking to speak with certain people. Specifically, they want to talk with the owners of 3 vehicles that were seen in the area. A small silver 2-door vehicle and a red vehicle, both seen on JG near Stewart County Park, along with a full-size dark-colored pickup truck near Burgum Road. Deputies are also looking for help in identifying 2 other men seen running in the area. One is described as having a full beard and wearing a brown jacket with red stripes. The other is described as a white man wearing a white or off-white jogging suit.
We're looking for people that might have had video, whether it was video surveillance on their house or business, or maybe, even there's people that drive around with dash cams now.
The Sheriff's Department still hasn't named the exact cause of Day's death publicly. When asked why, they say that information could compromise the investigation.
6:17 right now. Authorities say a 10-year-old boy with family in the Madison area was locked in the attic naked. His autopsy showed he had cuts and bruises from head to toe when he was held underwater. His father is now facing counts of endangering children, felony assault, and rape of a child under the age of 13. The mother of Dakota Collins is sharing her story of grief and frustration with us. Coming up tonight only on News 3 Now at 10, we'll revisit the case and hear what she has to say about her son's death.
6:18 now. Still ahead this morning, we're learning more information about the new coronavirus that's already claimed more than a dozen lives. Up next, an update on a potential vaccine and when it could be available as the virus now hits U.S. shores.
But first, a live look outside at what your morning commute's going to look like as you head out the door. We have live team coverage of our live drive this morning, and Hattie's in next with your bus stop forecast. 6:21 on a Thursday morning, and if you're just waking up, you might want to take a look outside because it is going to be a little bit of a mess this morning.
And then don't hit the snooze button.
Yes.
Because you have to clear your car. You might want to clear the sidewalk a little bit. Just plan for a slower commute this morning with that snow falling. Snow is currently falling here in Madison. Here's a look at Doppler track this morning. We have had some pretty steady snow over the last couple of hours here in Madison. I got my snow boots on. I've been in and outside all morning. We have about an inch of new snow on the ground, so plan ahead. Roads are snow covered and slippery this morning. Snow is starting to let up though in southwestern Wisconsin, so there will be times where we get a break in the snow through the day today. Temperatures are in the 20s though, 27 in the Dells, 29 here in Madison. It's 30 in Janesville. Definitely not very cold outside this morning, but as he's heading the kids off to school, you definitely need all the snow gear today. We're talking boots, hats, mittens, scarves, everything you have. It is going to be very snowy on the playground and at the bus stop, both to and from school today. Coming up in weather, we're going to talk more about the impacts from this storm and how much snow you're exactly going to have to clear as we head into Saturday.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie. Happening right now, the National Institutes of Health is working on a vaccine against the new coronavirus that's now killed 17 people in China and infected more than 500 worldwide. The first phase of clinical trials isn't expected to get underway for a couple of months, and it could be more than a year before the vaccine would be available. The virus, first reported at the end of December, is most prevalent in China, but there's at least one case reported in the U.S., in Seattle. It originated in animals, but it can be spread from person to person.
A popular painkiller could soon be classified as a carcinogen in the state of California. Acetaminophen is used to treat mild to moderate pain and is the active ingredient in Tylenol. A state report of studies from California suggests that there may be a link between the drug and cancer cases. For this reason, regulators want to add the drug to the state's Proposition 65 list that highlights chemicals that are known to cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm. If acetaminophen makes it onto that list, companies will be required to warn customers of the possible effects.
New research out of Europe is casting doubt on marijuana's ability to ease the pain of cancer patients. Nearly 1,500 cancer patients in the UK and Europe were observed, some with a mixture of cannabis added to their regular pain medication, while some were given a placebo. The analysis found no changes in the average pain intensity between those two groups. Some cannabis users even showed new symptoms like nausea, dizziness, and vomiting. Ultimately, they say more research is needed for a definitive answer.
All right, it is 6:24 right now and still ahead for us. Our team coverage continues as we track a slick morning commute.
Here's Christina Laurie with a live look at the roads. How's it going out there, Christina?
It might not look like much, Josh and Leah, but the amount of snowfall that fell overnight was just enough to make road conditions extra dangerous this morning. I'll explain why in our live drive ahead at 6:30.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for joining us on this busy Thursday, January 23rd. We are continuing our team coverage on this alert day with a snowy commute ahead for you.
We'll check in on the roads on our News 3 Now live drive, but first let's get right to Hattie's forecast. Hattie, those school delays already coming in this morning.
Yeah, roads are definitely slippery. It is an alert day today for southern Wisconsin. Plan some extra time right now for your commute and wear the snow boots. I have mine on. Everything is snow covered. We've had just about an inch of snow. Sidewalks are slushy, as are the parking lots, so you'll want to wear the proper gear today. That snow will continue on and off through the day. Now, right now with high resolution Doppler, we're pointing out some of the areas of snow from the Dells down towards Black Earth. Here in Madison, we've had a pretty steady snow, but I would expect it to begin to lighten up a little bit over the next 30 to 60 minutes or so. Snow is really letting up, I should say, in the southwestern corner of the state right now. We're definitely not done with the snow, though, through this event. This is going to last through Friday right into Saturday. Some of the latest forecast models extending that snow a little bit into Saturday. Here's a look at your out-the-door forecast. Again, plan on light snow through the morning hours as we head towards the afternoon. Notice that temperatures get just a little bit above the freezing point. There is a small chance for some rain to mix in, especially south of Madison later on this afternoon. Let's take a look at those first alert traffic maps now, though. The plows have been out. Beltline is just wet right now. We're not seeing any major delays. The usual crowd, though, is starting to show up at Park Street as well as Stoughton Road, getting a little busier there with some brake lights showing up. What you're going to see in and around Dane County, lots of yellow spots on the roads indicating slower than normal travel. We've had some pretty slow conditions on Highway 14 as you head towards Madison from Oregon. Also, earlier there were some slowdowns on Highway 18, but right now no accidents to report, which is good news. Your travel as we go through the day today, notice it's just yellow lights for 5 and 6 p.m. I think there'll be a little bit of a break in the snow later on today, so the evening commute might not be as bad as it is this morning, but plan extra time for this morning. Christina is on live drive this morning. Let's send it over to her and see what she's seen outside.
Hi, Hattie. That break in the snow later today will hopefully give crews enough time to properly clear all of the roads, including side streets. We're on Madison's southwest side this morning in the Pilgrim Park neighborhood. And as you can see, the road here hasn't been plowed yet. There's about 1 to 2 inches of snow coating the roadway, and that is making conditions extra slick this morning. Now, the National Weather Service says the majority of winter weather-related crashes actually happen when there are just 1 to 2 inches of snow, making drives like this morning's even more dangerous. Now, what is also worsening conditions is that the snowpacks that you're seeing piled up on your curb are actually starting to soften and melt a little bit, creating a slush, a film across the roadway. So underneath all of this snow, it is also slick, creating an additional layer of difficulty. Luckily, I have a very safe driver this morning. We've been out on the roads all morning. We've been up to University. We've gone both east and west on that road, and that was getting progressively better. So that's why we checked out side roads, which seem to be the main concern this morning. We will continue to be out here all show long. Josh and Leah monitoring road conditions ahead of the morning commute. But for now, I'll send it back to you.
Christina Lowry on live drive this morning. Be safe, Christina. Thank you very much.
All right, let's take another wider look at area roads with the statewide DOT map this morning. We're dealing with 2 colors. We're talking about pink roads to the northeast and then blue roads to the northwest, or southwest rather. Pink means that we're slippery. That's a little bit less serious rather than the snow cover that we're seeing toward the western portion of the state.
Yeah, most of the school delays that we have coming in this morning are from the west of Madison. You can see the Richland area, Riverdale, also Weston are on a 2-hour delay. So kind of depends on where you are in the metro this morning and what you're experiencing, but a little bit of everything across southern Wisconsin.
Yeah, certainly. Maybe perhaps the most serious area that we're looking at is Milwaukee. That's the only place with a car crash. Christina's going to give us another update in the morning sprint of the roads in our area coming up in about 20 minutes. Now, Hattie's been saying this snow is going to continue to fall over the next couple of days, so you're going to want to keep a close eye on the roads all week. You can stay up to date before you head out the door with our Channel 3000 weather and traffic app. You'll get all the latest road conditions, school closings, and forecasts, all for free in your phone's app store. All right, to our other headlines this morning, we are continuing to follow breaking news into the alert center of a pair of overnight robberies.
First off, 3 suspects are in custody this morning after an armed robbery downtown near the corner of East Johnson and North Hancock Streets. Police say the three forced their way into a home at around 9:30 last night. All three were arrested shortly after the incident, and no one was hurt.
In that second robbery, police say a suspect held a machete to a person's neck and demanded money. It happened around 10:30 downtown on Bedford Street at Wilson. Officers do have that suspect in custody this morning. They say the two knew each other and this wasn't a random act.
Also breaking this morning, one person is recovering in the hospital after a fire in Sun Prairie. It started around 10:30 last night at a duplex off of County Highway VV. Multiple agencies responded and they were able to put that fire out 2 hours later. The damage is estimated at around $5,000. We're still waiting to hear from crews about what caused that fire. We're hearing from state GOP leaders on what they're willing to take up after Governor Evers' State of the State address last night.
The governor is calling the legislature to a special session next week to take up a package of bills on dairy and farms. After Republicans were criticized for slow action on funding for farmer mental health last year, Evers called for a new program to get farmers access to those services. His plan also creates an Office of Rural Prosperity to help revitalize rural parts of the state, something Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says he's open to.
We're all looking for ways to do better when it comes to ag, and there's been a number of proposals by the legislature, but I'm all ears on what the governor has to offer.
Governor Evers also announced his plans to sign 2 executive orders, one creating a task force on student debt, the other creating a nonpartisan redistricting commission.
Democratic House managers will spend another day continuing their opening arguments in President Trump's impeachment trial after beginning their presentation yesterday. Lead manager Adam Schiff began building the House's case of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Democrats are still making their case that new witnesses should testify. The president's defense team could present their case as soon as tomorrow. Meanwhile, Wisconsin senators are weighing in this morning.
I feel that too many of my Republican friends feel that their duty is to support and defend the president, not to follow their oath and support and defend the Constitution. We deserve to have a trial that is full, fair, and honest. And so far, the Republicans in the Senate have not set us on that course.
Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson says the Democrats' approach isn't helpful and that accusing Republican senators of a cover-up isn't helping their case.
As we get closer to the 2020 elections, some of you might have gotten a letter saying you're not registered to vote, even though you are. This is happening around the state, and it's causing concern for some voters. More than 130,000 of those letters have been sent in Wisconsin in just the past week. A third-party, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization is behind it, not the Wisconsin Elections Commission.
The goal of the voter registration application forms that we're sending is to get more people registered, particularly those who are the most underrepresented in the electorate.
Voter participation is based in Washington, D.C. They target women who aren't married as well as minorities. The organization says if you're registered to vote and happen to get the letter, just ignore it. If you're not registered, you can use the form to do just that as long as the information on it is correct.
Time right now, 6:36 this morning. Coming up in the morning sprint, we'll have more details about Governor Evers' plan for the future of Wisconsin in his second annual State of the State address.
And you're taking a live look at what your morning commute's going to look like. We're going to keep you updated on the conditions with our live drive as the morning goes on. Our team coverage continues on News 3 Now this morning. Back, it's not just cold here in Wisconsin. Animals in Florida are struggling to stay warm as temperatures drop there.
In fact, it is so cold in Florida this morning that animals are huddling up together, like these manatees grouping together in a spot of warm water off Apollo Beach near Tampa. It's not cold enough to snow, but it is raining iguanas.
What?
Look at this. The iguanas sleep in trees, and the cold-blooded animals go dormant when the temperatures drop below 40 degrees. Causing them to fall out of the trees.
I cannot believe this.
Can you imagine getting hit with one of those in the face?
Oh my goodness.
The National Weather Service in Miami actually issued this warning saying they're not dead, they're just a little too cold to move.
So I just Googled it. The average weight of an iguana, a blue iguana this is, so a bigger one, is 31 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
That could knock you right out.
Good. That's a wake-up call for you. So we're having some fun with our morning poll this morning. We are asking you to sound off. What do you do when it gets cold? Do you huddle up like the manatees or give up like the iguanas? Right now, 66% of you are saying that you huddle up like the manatees. I mean, we are Wisconsinites.
I was going to say, we don't just give up and fall out of our trees.
I feel like we give up when the temperature is like negative 25 or below, like the polar vortex last year.
Which, thank heavens, is not happening this January.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky so far. Go online and sound off. We love to see where you stand.
All right, let's take a look at our My Morning photo for this Thursday. You're taking a peek at this stunning one by Mike.
Another nice color picture. I know we've seen a lot of these lately with like the purples and the pinks. That's like my favorite.
I think this man is very smart for taking it inside as well, staying nice and warm.
Please share your morning with us. Use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. So still looking pretty slick outside this morning. We'll have another look at the roads coming up. And Hattie's also telling us what we need to know on this alert day in her forecast next.
But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can share their picture on TV. Thanks for watching News 3 Now this morning.
Look who's
Plan ahead, be slow, be patient, be alert. That's the message from Dane County dispatchers this morning, who have already taken calls for about a dozen slide-offs and other weather-related accidents out here on the roads. We've been doing a live drive all show long, monitoring road conditions as the snow continues to fall. For a look at how much more we'll get, I'm going to toss it over to Hattie McLean. Hi, Hattie.
Hi, Christina. Yeah, we have been talking snow all morning long. Visibility is down a little bit. Snow continues to fall. Here are some initial snow reports coming into the weather office from the snow overnight. 2 inches of snow in Mineral Point, about 1.5 inches in Lodi. Again, about 1 inch here in and around the Madison area. We continue to add to those snow totals, though, through the day today. Alert days are in the forecast for today and all of Friday. We're talking about 60 hours of on and off snow here in southern Wisconsin. Snow started late yesterday evening and will continue right into Saturday. So here's a look at your snow chances over the next 48 hours. A little bit up and down. I think there will be a break in the snow activity this evening, so the evening commute probably not as bad as it is this morning, but then snow ramps up overnight into early Friday. Likely to have to deal with snowy conditions again tomorrow morning and then on and off through the day on Friday. There could be some heavy snow moving in later Friday night. Here's a look at your future track snow potential. This is additional snow from now through the day on Saturday. We're looking at a general 2 to maybe almost 6 inches of snow across southern Wisconsin. Again, this is over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So a long time frame, just a little bit of light snow expected. Not that you're going to have to clean up, though, by the time you get to the weekend. Here's Doppler track this morning. The heaviest steady snow is moving north of the interstate this morning. Still seeing some light snow falling in and around Madison. Has been breaking up a little bit in southwestern Wisconsin, but our Platteville camera still showing some light snow falling there. You can see moisture lining up from the U.S.-Canadian border all the way down into the central and southern parts of the United States. A lot of moisture for these storms to work with. 2 areas of low pressure on the map. The first in Minnesota, the second one to our south near Springfield. This is the one that we'll watch. The track of this storm system is actually east and then north as we go through Friday into Saturday. So it stays pretty close to southern Wisconsin, keeping us in the snow chances right into Saturday. Now our current temperature 29 with snow falling at the airport. Wind chill not a huge factor today with these mild temperatures in place. In fact, all across southern Wisconsin, pretty close to 30 degrees this morning. So as you head out the door, not terribly cold. Your future track forecast model is showing you that the snow will diminish some this morning, so there will be some breaks. But by the lunch hour, we're still looking at scattered snow showers across southern Wisconsin. Again, maybe a better commute home today. The plows will have a chance to clean up the roads, but snow returns then overnight tonight into Friday morning, and then it continues on and off through the day on Friday. It'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow, so we could see some rain mixing in as we head through the afternoon hours. Let's take a look at that extended forecast. Not a lot of changes to the temperature. We stay with highs in the mid to even upper 30s some days. It's pretty mild for this time of the year. The snow will taper off, though, through the day on Saturday. Here's our pet walk forecast. Oh, it's Bo and Dane. Ooh. Bo's a senior pup, you can tell, but maybe it's his birthday.
I love the gray.
Like
it's kind of cute around the nose.
Yeah, I like the hat.
Hoping he's getting the birthday cake today.
Yeah.
What a cutie.
Sounds
Thank you,
like an
Hattie.
idea to me.
Morning Spread is up next. Stick around.
This is the
It is 6:51, time for the morning sprint with an alert day in store for your Thursday.
Christina's on live drive to check your morning commute, but we begin with Hattie, keeping an eye on the snow coming down as we speak, Hattie.
That's right, Leah and Josh. We do have some snow falling across the area. It's an alert day for southern Wisconsin. You'll want to plan some extra time to get to your destination. Snow has been falling all night, starting to let up in southwestern Wisconsin, but it still continues here in the Madison area, so it will be a snowy commute. Additional snowfall through the day today is going to be pretty light, less than an inch in most spots, but again, just enough to cause some problems on the roads. Total snow by the time we get to Saturday, though, a little heavier. We're looking at 3 to 6 inches of snow for southern Wisconsin. Keep in mind to the south, some rain may mix in with the snow during the afternoons.
1 or 2 inches, it might not look like a whole lot of snow outside your window this morning, but as the snow continues to fall and you head out the door and go to work, the roads are getting slick out here. We are heading southbound on Verona Road this morning, which is one of the roads that is particularly slick. The snow that's been piling up on the side of the road is slowly melting, creating a film across the road. So the message from Dane County dispatchers this morning is go slow, be alert, be safe. Josh and Leah.
Christina, thank you. Madison police are investigating a pair of robberies overnight. 3 suspects are in custody this morning after an armed robbery near the corner of East Johnson and North Hancock Streets. Police say the suspects forced their way into a home around 9:30 last night. The suspects left the scene before police arrived, but were identified by the victim and arrested shortly after.
In that second robbery, police say a suspect held a machete to a person's neck and demanded money. It happened around 10:30 downtown on Bedford Street at Wilson Street. Officers do have that suspect in custody this morning. They say the two knew each other. This wasn't a random act.
Fitchburg police are still working this morning to determine what led up to the death of a bike path yesterday, or a death of a person on a bike path yesterday afternoon. Police responded to the path next to Fitcherona Road, just north of Nesbitt Road, after someone reported a person appeared to have died there. According to an initial investigation, the death doesn't appear suspicious. Also breaking overnight, one person is recovering in the hospital this morning after a fire in Sun Prairie. It started around 10:30 at a duplex off of County Highway VV. Multiple agencies responded. They were able to put the fire out 2 hours later. The damage estimated to be around $5,000, and we're still waiting to hear from crews about what caused that fire.
3 U.S. residents are dead after a water tanker crashed while fighting wildfires in Australia. It happened in the state of New South Wales. A nearby airport was shut down this morning because of the wildfires, and residents south of its capital were told to seek shelter.
1 person is dead and 7 people are in the hospital this morning after a mass shooting in Seattle. Police are still looking for that shooter. It happened close to 5 p.m. local time there. The city's mayor says it started as an argument and escalated into gunfire.
Senators returned today for day 2 of opening arguments in President Trump's impeachment trial. House Manager Adam Schiff started building the House's case of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The president is back in Washington after the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, where he's repeated he's done nothing wrong. The president's legal team is expected to present their case on Saturday.
Legislators can expect UW system regents to ask for a tuition increase in the next state budget. UW system president Ray Cross tells the state Senate's Universities Committee that the region's biennial budget request will include an increase, roughly in keeping with inflation. Tuition has been frozen at the system's 4-year schools since 2013.
The Trump administration could expand its controversial travel ban as soon as next week. 7 countries would be added in the expansion, including Nigeria, Sudan, and Myanmar. The ban would place immigration restrictions on these countries, but it wouldn't necessarily ban all of their citizens.
President Trump will be the first president to attend the March for Life tomorrow in Washington, an annual anti-abortion event. The administration has consistently worked to regulate or restrict abortion access. March for Life's president said in a statement that they are deeply honored to welcome President Trump to the 47th annual march.
Tonight, we say that we are ready to be a partner in the promise of posterity.
Governor Evers is announcing a new 3-part plan to help the state's rural areas in his 2nd annual State of the State address. He's calling the legislature to a special session next week to take up a package of bills on dairy and farms. His plan also creates an Office of Rural Prosperity for the state.
New water quality standards are now being drafted by the DNR for a range of pollutants. The goal is to create groundwater standards for 16 substances that are currently unregulated and to create limits on the chemicals that make up PFAS. Authorization to start drafting those new standards came from the DNR board on Wednesday.
Letters going out around the state are causing concern ahead of the 2020 election. Those letters say you're not registered to vote, even though you are. They came from a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization, not the Wisconsin Elections Commission. That organization says if you are registered to vote and happen to get the letter, just ignore it. If you're not registered, you can use the form they're sending to do just that.
The National Institutes of Health is working on a vaccine against the new coronavirus that has now infected more than 500 people and killed 17 in China. The first phase of clinical trials isn't expected to get underway for a few months, and it could be more than a year before the vaccine might be available. The virus first reported at the end of December is most prevalent in China, but there's at least one case being reported in the U.S. in Seattle.
6:56 now. Let's turn it over to Stacey K with a look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Stacey.
Hi. Give yourself extra time to get to work today. The snow is making you slow down this morning. Side roads may or may not be plowed just yet. The interstate is mostly just wet, but might still have snow in the left lane. The Beltline is mostly just wet, and the westbound side is starting to get busier now between Stoughton Road and Monona Drive. Inbound John Nolan is already getting more crowded at the Rimrock and North Shore Drive intersections. And other main routes heading into Madison, they're slow, but they're moving along with no crashes or delays so far. With your first alert traffic, I'm Stacey K.
Thank you, Stacey. Here's a live look from the Edgewater Skycam this morning. We still have some snow falling here in Madison and across most of southern Wisconsin. Keep that in mind. You'll have to plan a little extra time to get to your destination through the day today. Snow is expected to continue on and off through the day. Day planner temperatures, though, take us to highs in the mid-30s, so at least it's not terribly cold.
Very true. Thank you very much, Hattie.
And thanks for joining us. Our live drive continues throughout CBS this morning. Stay with First Alert Traffic and Weather.